want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? It says, squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tapping in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. It is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, year of our Lord. Man, I thought it was Wednesday. I thought that it was Wednesday. I genuinely did, because, you get so much done in one day that you automatically think that you done did 2 days, but it's really not that. It's really not that. What up to my friends and family out here in the building? I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Big Ja all day. All day. Shout out to the early super chatters, Frank White, Cash Appers, ESD Mike, that dude in the building. I appreciate y'all. Man, it's going to be crazy this weekend. I got to catch a flight out to Houston to go and link up with my chasers. What up to my chasers? Shout out to everybody that tuned into to the live stream last night. Was it not a wild live stream? Are we not continuing to evolve? We had over 3,000 people watching on YouTube alone. We had over 3,000 people watching on YouTube alone. What's up to my friends and family? I've been going a little bit more conservative lately, in line with the party that I'm rocking with. I've been going with my Omega, with the Omega Seamaster with the rose gold on it, instead of going with the presidential and all of that stuff. This is one of them, if you know, you see you out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You doing it for you type of watches. You don't have to be loud with it. Sometimes you could just be chill. I'm in the Omega type of mood. I'm not in the Rolex type of mood lately. What up to my friends and family? I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock in. Thank you for tapping in. Everybody. Brittany says she gonna be there. Brittany gonna be there, y'all. If y'all want to see Brittany and kick it with her in person, then make sure you come to the meetup. First, you got to tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Again, shout out to our sponsor, Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. The link is in the description. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. And then we going to rock out. We going to get to it. All right, y'all ready to get started with the show? We got a full show today. You know it is election season. It's money season. We're going to go over to Chicago to talk about property taxes because the Cook County Assessor's Office is catching hell. We got another contestant on The Price is Right as far as a content creator. Towards the end of the show, talking about how $20 an hour is the new minimum wage or it's not enough. So we're going to break that down. Charlamagne decided that he wanted to endorse Kamala Harris. Who didn't see this coming? And Ron DeSantis says that Kamala Harris is complicit in continuing to push Joe Biden out there, knowing that he had early signs of dementia. We're going to tap into it. But first, we definitely want to get into the Kamala Harris situation as far as her first official conversation and going at Trump, taking aim at Trump, so that she can try to secure the president of the United States of America's seat as the first black woman. Now she's a black woman. I thought she was Jamaican and 3/4 Indian. Who knows? But we going to get there. What up to my friends and family? Let me go ahead and read this super chat. Shout out to my first super chat of the day. It says, I may not talk much, but good morning. We the Chasers. Shout out to Big J all day in the building. I appreciate y'all and the Chasers. Again, the Bag Chasers, it's not a separate group. It's one group, all of the channels that goes to the same place. We are the Chasers, and we continue to run it up. We are more than 8,200 people strong, trending up to 8,300 people. So if you want to be a part of the group, the Cool Kids Club, then make sure you tap in. Shout out to Big J all day. I also want to give an acknowledgement to Mike That Dude. Shout out to Mike That Dude, always being consistent, always holding us down. I appreciate you, Mike That Dude, for being that dude and supporting the platform. I don't ask for it, but I always want to acknowledge the people that hold me down. Easy Money C in the building. Shout out to Easy Money C. I appreciate you. Frank White says, yo, AD, you ever heard of Dan Pena? Yes, I have heard of a Dan Pena. I think he got a TikTok where he be talking. He says, let me join the Chasers. I need your help. The link is in the description to join the help, Frank White. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Y'all ready to go ahead and get into the show? We're not even going to delay because we got a long show. I don't think it's going to be that long. I'm here with y'all for the next couple hours. But Kamala Harris's live stream was pretty long, and so I want to deep dive into that. Let me get my timer out here in these streets. But first things first, we got to get into Quick Hits. Y'all know what it is. Let's get into Quick Hits, y'all. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to each individual subject, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop of what's going on out in these streets. First things first, Fremont. Shout out to my people out there in Cali. Fremont sees 2 homicides in one day, and the neighborhood is upset about it. Take a look.
Fremont police detectives are searching for suspects wanted in 2 separate deadly shootings over the weekend.
Officials say that they've never had 2 homicides in one day, which they say is awfully concerning. Our South Bay reporter Jesse Gary live now for us at
That's
police
an old school man. Hold on.
Much more on.
That's an old school player right there. That man right there, with his natural hairline, makeup on, sweating outside, no mustache, no beard. He is more than likely, he came from Pam Grier's era. Like, he came from an old school line of players. That man, and he ain't got no, you know how you got the buttons on your collars? That's how I got it on most of my shirts. That's an old school player right there. Shout out to the old school players. Probably couldn't hoop back in his day. Got the finger roll like Dr. J. I'm with it, big dog.
This and other recent acts of violence in the city of Fremont. Jesse.
Heather, Mike, good evening to you. Fremont police say they do not believe the crimes Saturday are connected. The two people, the two incidents are not connected, and that the trigger people have not been caught. And they are not from this city. This as the grieving for the victims has begun. Monday, a growing sidewalk memorial sits near the intersection of Nichols Avenue and Barnes Lane. Fremont police say a teenager was gunned down near this spot early Saturday afternoon.
All violent crime is concerning to us, always. And so anytime there is a violent crime occurring, it's always a concern, and we're always going to dedicate every single resource we have available to ensure that those folks that are responsible for that violent crime are arrested.
Neighbors say they saw the victim as he walked towards his parked car. Seconds later, a vehicle pulled up. 3 people got out and opened fire. Their target was hit multiple times and died at the scene. The shooters escaped. Later the same night, a woman was shot and killed near Lake Arrowhead Avenue and Alvarado Road.
Both homicides are unrelated to one another. We believe, based on the preliminary investigation, that the suspects in both of the homicides are not from our community.
These killings, part of a string of high-profile cases involving the loss of life in recent weeks. July 12th, 3-year-old Ellie Lorenzo was reported missing from her father's Fremont apartment.
Ellie's mother was notified that Ellie's father was found deceased from apparent suicide in the city of San Francisco.
Investigators say Jared Lorenzo jumped from the top of a Tenderloin building, killing himself.
I heard a loud bang. We heard a bunch of horns beeping.
The next day, Ellie's body was found at a San Jose recycling plant.
Ellie was the most sweet, warm, loving child. She was one of these kids that would just walk into the room and everyone would light up.
In June, a dispute over a backpack led to the shooting death of 41-year-old contract security guard Abakar Amin. He was pronounced dead at the scene at a CVS pharmacy at Maury Avenue and Fremont Boulevard. Detectives say the suspect was stabbed and hospitalized and that there's no further update in the case. Fremont has 4 homicides so far this year, slightly ahead of last year's total at the same point in time. Police officials say despite 2 murders in one day, there has not been a spike in crime.
Having 2 in one day is highly unusual. It is not the norm. So it's at this point it's an anomaly, the fact that there were 2 in one day.
I don't be believing that people be just killing themselves and jumping off of a building. Whenever people be telling me oh man, it's a daughter that was still involved and he just jumped off a building, I just don't by default be believing that. I don't. But I think that it's demonic spirits in the air that is leading to some of the things that we see happening in the news. And when you start seeing a spike in something, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Don't think that it's not going to start to hit your neighborhood or it's not going to spread out into the spaces that you live in. Take it very, very serious. And whenever I hear a kid dying or somebody getting hit up or being set up, that just hurts my heart personally. It really does. It really bothers me. But postal workers, I was keeping you guys informed on what's happening with postal workers because it's something that's important to me because I don't think that people that are just doing their jobs, and even when you were in the hood, like back in the day, when you was in the hood, we was cool. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the postal, because you need your checks. People need their checks. People wasn't robbing a postal worker, man. They wasn't even going in people's mailboxes. It was almost like crime has always been in existence, and murderers and killers and the dealers and all of these people has always been in existence. But it was just certain things that you just didn't do or you just didn't touch that was untouchable. You never bothered the lady that was the old lady on the street. She didn't get robbed. She didn't get hurt. Postal workers, they didn't get bothered. Crackheads, they live forever because, hey, man, just let them have a pass, man. Don't be bothering him. And so people, even when they committed crimes and stuff, they didn't do it against certain people in the community got a pass. And now over in Illinois, specifically in Chicago, more than ever, you got postal workers getting killed in broad daylight, robbed. $250,000, $150,000 bounties on people's head in order to turn these people in. It's crazy. If you just go in and you're doing your job, there's no reason why you should be getting robbed and killed in broad daylight. But another liberal city going down.
Postal workers in Chicago are demanding more protection after a letter carrier was killed on the South Side last week.
And WGN's Andrea Medina has more from their Union Hall where they rallied today. USPS letter carriers are voicing concerns about the rising dangers of their jobs stemming from violent attacks. This has prompted union leaders to push for enhanced safety measures.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
Hundreds of United States postal workers and labor allies rallied Monday morning outside the National Association of Letter Carriers Branch 11 Union Hall on the South Side. They came together to express their frustration over the uptick of assaults they face on the job. The head of the union pointed out and expressed her frustration.
Let me show y'all something. You know, one of the reasons why y'all getting robbed and stuff like this is because they see y'all as vulnerable. If you look in this crowd, and do not take it lightly, listen to what I'm saying. If you look in this crowd, just on this camera shot alone, I see two men total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I see at least 12 women, 2 men, 12 women in the crowd, working the jobs, doing the things that usually was reserved for the strongest of us, or walking through certain neighborhoods, dogs, having to carry mace, can't carry a gun, none of that. I see almost all women in that crowd. Ain't that crazy? Almost all women is in that crowd. That's insane. Even the spokesperson is a woman.
Over the uptick of assaults they face on the job. The head of the union pointed out a rise since August of 2022.
Now we have 140, over 140, and now we have a fatality. And that is just not right, you all. Justice for Octavia!
All
there
women.
Were loud
That's
chants and tears shed in remembrance.
That ain't nothing but women right there. That's all women. I see all women, a couple men, mostly all women that's doing these jobs. Y'all hungry, y'all tired, you hungry and big at the same time. That's a heavy combination. That's a deadly combination.
Justice for Octavia!
There were loud chants and tears shed in remembrance of Octavia Redmond. On Friday, the 48-year-old was delivering mail in the West Pullman neighborhood when she was killed.
We have lost a sweetheart sister and a friend, a well-respected auntie, a super cool cousin, a proud postal letter carrier, nearly 20 years of service.
Octavia did not make that last delivery, y'all. The last delivery that President Foster talks about daily, the last most important delivery, that delivery home. She did not make it.
Mac Julian highlights that the recent surge in crime hasn't been met with appropriate resources to effectively address the growing issue. Letter carriers are demanding enhanced protection and improved public safety during their delivery routes, such as bringing back postal police officers to patrol alongside them in the streets.
We don't feel safe going to work to do our jobs. We're letter carriers. We're serving the public, and we can't be safe.
We're dealing with crazy people out there. We're dealing with all type of situations, and we just want to know who is out there to protect us.
Nobody. Shot spotter is gone. They removed the postal police in order to cut the budget so that they could start to fund these initiatives that have to do with migrants in these sanctuary cities. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Hey, how many of your public servants, because if they start to hit up some of these Congress members, God forbid, or they start to hit up some of these legislators or these mayors or these councilmen, then they're going to start to get the attention of the people. But when it's the person that's serving the public, that's making sure that your checks get there, that make sure that your mail get there, that make sure your Amazon packages get there, they don't have no respect for y'all. And so they're not trying to protect y'all. Protect yourself. Even though you work for the federal government, protect yourself. That's what's happening over in Illinois, and I'm going to stay on top of that. And then last but not least, 7 armed robberies happened in 1 hour in Chicago, and this is an example of the type of things that y'all have to deal with inside of some of y'all neighborhoods.
Chicago police are asking for the public to help identify suspects in an armed robbery spree. On June 26th, these 3 men committed 7 armed robberies in the span of an hour, beginning just before 5 a.m. They all took place in Southwest and near West Side neighborhoods. In each of them, the men pulled up in a stolen silver Hyundai Sonata, threatened the victims with handguns, and then took their property. One victim was also pistol whipped. Anybody with information, you are asked to please call police.
5 a.m. in the morning. They're waking up early in the morning. early in the morning to get on their job. Go and steal them a Hyundai Sonata, get out there, start pistol whipping people, and they did 7. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but at least 7 armed robberies that they know of in broad daylight with no regard for trying to get caught by the police at all. They was cool. They was chilling. They took their time. You see them in the video. They moving slow. They pistol whipping people, beating them in the head. People that's getting up early in the morning to go and take care of business. I know somebody in Chicago. I was talking to my homegirl in Chicago. She said, listen, Anton, I don't even go jogging in the morning no more in the summertime. She said, we are prisoners in our own home, hoping and praying that somebody can come and save us because we can't even afford to leave the place that we were born at, and it's getting worse every single day. Every single day is getting worse. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, let me go ahead and get into the show. We're just going to get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. Kamala Harris, right? So she decided to pop up at her campaign headquarters yesterday, and she decided to jump into a speech directly aimed at Trump and to kind of give us an example of what she stands on as far as what she's running on and why people should vote for her. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and let's turn on your notifications. Y'all ready to get started? Let's get it popping.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. I
think that this woman, just give me a second. We're going to get into the speech. We're going to get into the substance of what she's saying. It's so fake. It's so fake. Oh, my God. Candace Owens did this live stream where she basically said that she believes that Kamala Harris has slept her way to the top. The way that she got into politics in the first place and how she got into certain rooms was not based off of her credentials, but it was based off of her ability to get in front of certain people. And I don't know how true that is, but I'm just conveying to you what she communicated. And we talked about it on the live stream last night on the Q show, so make sure y'all go and restream that. But she's so fake, so fake. Are y'all able to spot a chameleon when you see one, not just in relationships, but also in politics?
You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. Oh. So, Joe, I'm going to recognize some of the electeds who are here, and then I'm going to get back to you. Hold on a second. So let me please, acknowledge some extraordinary national leaders who are also dear friends, both to the president and to me. Governor John Carney. I want to thank Jen O'Malley Dillon and just what we know to be true. You all have been working so hard. The people in this office have been and you're giving yourselves to our country because you love me to continue with his role of leadership in this office, of like him, who has said for many, many, many months, and I say it today, thank you all so very much for what you are doing and what you will continue to do. So let's applaud the team. There's so many mixed emotions about this. I just have to say, I love Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden, and I know we all do, and we have so many darn good reasons for loving Joe Biden. And I have full faith that this team will be the reason we win in November. You all who are here. And as Julie always says, and I will quote the great Julie, we are one team, one fight. One team, one fight. And she's been an extraordinary campaign manager. She's going to continue in this role and see us to victory in November. And we are all here because we love our country, right? And we believe in our foundational principles. We believe in freedom and opportunity and justice, not for some, but for all. And so we have 106 days until Election Day, and in that time we have some hard work to do. And as JOD always reminds us, we can do hard things. JOD has been such an incredible leader of this team, and that is why I have just asked her to run my campaign, and she has accepted. Our case to the American people, and we are going to. And so now I'm getting back to you, Joe. I will tell you, it has been one of the greatest honors of my life, truly, to serve as vice president to our president, Joe Biden. Joe's legacy of accomplishment, just over a lifetime, but just over the last 3.5 years, is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who served 2 terms in office. Think about it. And I know everyone here in the campaign, we know. But if we don't know, we got a problem. But I'm going to repeat some for those who might be guests at the moment. Joe got the COVID-19 pandemic under control. Remember those days?
Seriously? Oh, man. This is so wild, bro.
He has
Can we? Why they don't do fact checkers on this stuff?
Created more than 15 million new jobs. He brought together Republicans and Democrats and passed historic legislation. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a firsthand witness to all this work. I would sit with Joe in the Oval Office while he would bring members of both sides of the aisle and talk and listen and help them see what they may have in common and how we can actually work towards solutions. And because of their confidence in Joe, these accomplishments occurred. Joe has stood up for democracy at home, and he has stood up for democracy abroad, and he has always stood up for what he believes is right. And many of you may know, I first came to know Joe through his son, Beau. Beau and I worked together as state attorneys general. And
this is the exact same speech that she gave in opening for the NCAA, the children that was on the White House lawn that I did a live stream for yesterday. She literally did this same speech word for word as far as, and how I came to know Joe, and it was through Beau and all of this blah, 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 blah. It's the same narrative, the same spiel all across the board. This is so planned, so fake. It aggravates me that y'all just falling for the okie doke, bro.
Back then, Beau would often tell me stories about his dad.
The one thing that you can say about Trump, whether you like him or not, the one thing that you can say about Trump is that he pulls no punches and he says exactly what he thinks. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be finessed. I don't want somebody telling me what I want to hear. I want somebody to just give it to me raw, tell me the truth. Hey, man, you got a problem over here? Or, hey, man, y'all over there suffering and y'all looking like some silly fools. Get your life together. Hey, black community, y'all tried it all these years doing it that way. Would y'all want to do something different because y'all messed up over there? I'm not into the identity politics. I'm not into trying to make me feel good. Don't butter me up. Talk to me like a C student. Tell me what the issue is, and let's address how we can get to the solutions. I don't care about the smiles. I don't care about looking a certain way, telling people a certain thing. I care about results. And so when I see people that say, I don't like the way he talks, or I want somebody to just tell me exactly what the issue is so we can solve the problem and get to the results. I don't care about the optics. I don't care about feeling good. I don't care about hope. I don't care about speeches. I care about results. So all of this chameleon behavior, it don't resonate with me. I can see through it. I can see through the fakeness. That's just me personally. Let me let her play. Let me let her rock for the next few minutes at least.
And he would talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. And he would talk about the qualities of his father. And the qualities that Beau revered the most are the same qualities that I see every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family, his big, big heart, and his deep love of our country. And I don't need to tell you all, you know Joe's background, right? I mean, he grew up in a middle-class family in Scranton, and he has never forgotten where he comes from. And so, again, I am a first-hand witness from being with him in the Oval Office to the Situation Room and seeing him on the global stage with world leaders. President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his.
Does that also include all of the people that came into this country undocumented, illegal, when he also sued the state of Texas in order to open up their borders to people that's undocumented, that's not supposed to be here? Does that represent fighting for the American people? That's all I want to say. I don't need no fact checkers. I know what the history of this country is. I'm also aware of what happened over the last 4 years, what happened over the last 8 years, what happened over the last 12 years, what happened over the last 16 years and 20 years. Yes, I was outside. I was able to vote. I have been able to observe all of these different people that's came and gone through the White House, that came and gone through Congress, that came and gone through my own personal city. And so what I witnessed over the last 4 years is unprecedented funding going towards people that are not even Americans. But we continue to let this spiel, this trope, this conversation evolve around the idea that somehow they're for us, but at the same time, they're not doing the thing that's in your own best interest. How can we have that conversation and honestly sit here and posture in front of people in front of the camera and think that that makes sense? Listen, if y'all don't know anything, if you're not paying attention to anything, pay attention to what happened in your own cities. In your own, I know we got a short memory. It don't really matter what happened yesterday. The only thing that matters is what they tell us. We're not running off of track records. None of that matters. None of that matters. Remember when you couldn't pay your rent, even though they said that we had record unemployment, but you couldn't afford the house that you was in? Remember all of that? Remember the people that was coming in and riding in on scooters? The same ones that they finesse and now they delivering your DoorDash and your Uber Eats? The ones that they training to take over the jobs inside of the restaurants? Remember all of that? Do y'all have short memories or no? Or no? Remember that part of the inflation was the fact that they then took your tax dollars and gave it over to people that made bad decisions when it came to the things that they wanted to go to school for and they student loans? And then it continued to spike. Remember the fact that y'all can't afford a home now? You know how interest rates is above 7%? That's doing the thing that's in the best interest of the American people. Remember when they tied, see, you talking to one that actually knows and that reports on this on a regular basis. Remember when they tied securing our borders, which is supposed to be a federal duty and job that y'all shouldn't have bipartisan agreement for. You should just be doing that. Everybody needs our borders secure. Remember when they tied legislation in order to fund border security to funding with Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel? Remember when they held you over a barrel and they said, listen, we're not going to secure the borders if you don't give us some more money for Zelensky? That's what I seen. As a person that was observing the news and was having conversations with y'all and was pushing y'all to level up every single day, that's what I observed that was happening over the last 3.5 years. I seen y'all getting evicted. And the only reason that half of y'all still had y'all home was because they was finessing the landlords and saying that the rent moratorium would prevent you from getting thrown out of your house, and so you didn't pay rent for all of these years. And then finally, somebody came and said, listen, we can't have you on the rent moratorium forever. That's what I seen. I seen the people that was investing the most in this country suffer the most.
Service to our nation.
I'm watching. I'm watching.
Is that even Joe? Is that Joe? What can we trust now?
He knows there is still more work to do, and our nation will continue to praise his bold and visionary leadership as president. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Endorsement in this race. Intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win. Days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I will proudly put my record against his.
Record of what? Record of what? What record does she have outside of failing in the only role that she was anointed with when she became vice president of the United States of America, which we know that she was never going to be able to earn the presidency on her own. They had to cheat in order to get her into office, but we there.
As a young prosecutor, when I was in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office in California, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed. As district attorney, to go after polluters, I created one of the first environmental justice units in our nation. Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution.
Look at these manufactured booze and boo. Oh my God.
During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big Wall Street banks and won $20 billion for California families, holding those banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of 34 counts of fraud. But make no mistake, all of that being said, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. There is more to this campaign than that. Our campaign has always been about two different versions of what we see as the future of our country, two different visions for the future of our country. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every person can buy a home, start a family, and build wealth.
Cap, maybe that got to do with our interest rates and our inflation, right?
And where every person has access to paid family leave and affordable child care. That's the future we see. Together we fight to build a nation where every person has affordable health care, where every worker is paid fairly, and where every senior can retire with dignity. All of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
Let me tell y'all something. The biggest scams in this country is Social Security. It's a Ponzi scheme. And the idea that you are solidly middle class. You are the ones that are going to pay the most taxes. You are the ones that's going to forgive all of the student loans and fund all of this foolishness. You are the ones that's going to prop up this migrant crisis by continuing to pay into it the most. You are the ones that's going to suffer the most when it comes to all of this legislation that ultimately helps you to suffer, and we can see that no better than what's happening over in California right now. Everybody is running away from the very things that she says defines what the American dream is and what they're fighting for. In reality, they're telling you the biggest lie ever. I don't know any person that I've ever coached that says, man, I want to continue to invest and stay over here on the West Coast. I want to stay in this liberal state, liberal hellhole, even though the majority or a lot of the different suburbs around California, obviously a lot of those are red, but I've never seen anybody that is solidly middle class over in California. They sitting there telling us, and I look at these review videos every day, that $30 an hour is the new poor. Just a few years ago, they was protesting for $15 an hour. They promising you a lie. They saying that you're going to be able to retire with dignity, that you're going to be able to get health care, even though it all goes to the migrants, that you'll be able to make a sufficient amount to make sure that you're solidly middle class and be able to buy a home. They're lying to you, fam. Stop falling for the okie doke. Because if you start to dig into it and you start to try to understand, okay, how exactly are you going to do this? It's a house of cards. It's a Ponzi scheme. The people that's going to come after you is the ones that's ultimately going to fund your foolishness that you neglected to do for yourself inside of this country. This country used to be, listen, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, justice for all, the idea that you can do it if you put your mind to it, not that you would get a handout. The very idea of this country has fallen. And that's one of the reasons why you cannot vote this woman in office. I am sitting here standing on this, and like they like to say, I'm 10 toes down in this. I'm 10 toes down in this.
Because we here know when our middle class is strong, America is strong.
Same message.
And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for.
I'm going to read those super chats shortly.
He and his Extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class and bring us back.
Liars. Again, has no ties to this whole narrative, but they want to just continue to throw it in there. And I see these fools every day that jump inside of my chat and say, what about Project 2025? What about it? It ain't got nothing to do with Trump. But this is how you know that they finessing you.
Backward. Please do note that. Back to the failed trickle-down policies that gave huge tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and made working families pay the cost.
Cap. They used tax breaks in order to bring more money back into the United States of America. What happened was when you lowered the tax rate, it then calls for more companies to pay more taxes, which then fed into the federal government that they didn't use to go over to Ukraine and Taiwan and Israel. So what happens, let me break this down for the people that are ignorant and that don't understand exactly what happened when tax implemented the tax cuts. What he did was he lowered the tax cuts, which then allowed for companies like Apple to bring profits overseas back into the United States of America. So what they like to do is they like to play this game that's called offshore and then loan. So because they have so much money coming in, they're able to take out huge loans, which is one of the reasons why a lot of these corporations have debt. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Anton breaks this down inside of Stock Club. Every single company, almost every single company that is listed on a stock exchange has debt. It doesn't mean that it's not a hugely profitable company, but what happens is because they have assets, they're able to leverage those assets in order to take out very, 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 very small interest rate loans that allows for them to not have to pay as many taxes because they don't have to bring any money that they're making overseas back into the United States of America. So what Trump did, because he understands things from a business perspective, and it's not as simple as, oh man, you guys are the ones that's going to pay for all of the tax breaks. What happens is he forced the federal government to start to manage the money more effectively by then lowering the tax rate, which allowed for you to make more money and then have more jobs because they were able to fund what's going on in the American people and bring more profits back home that they was able to bring in at a lower tax rate that otherwise would have just stayed offshore and invested in other countries. But see, because you uninformed, because you're not prepared, and we seen this last night, is people that will get on a platform, that will get on a panel and say a bunch of nonsense, but they have no idea of business, they have no idea of politics, they have no idea how it's all tied together, and that's why we do what we do on the Millionaire Morning Show, and why you guys have to continue to leverage what you know in order to inform the people in your family. There was somebody yesterday that called me on a coaching call, on a regular coaching call, so I talked to him monthly, and he said, Anton, he was a young guy, he was in his early 20s, he said, Anton, how do I convince my people that are coming against me that I am not a liberal, I am conservative? I said, what happened? He said, my uncles and my aunties and my mother and my father. And I finally told them. And the story was his absentee ballot came to the house. And so his mother was saying that she wanted to fill out his absentee ballot for him and just tell her what he wanted to do. And so he was like, I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to just wait and just come and fill out my own absentee ballot, and I'm going to fill it out myself. And she said, why? And he said, because, I don't think the same way, and you automatically trying to fill out this absentee ballot. First of all, it's illegal. But secondly, you're trying to fill out this thing based off of what you think I want, but you don't know who I am. And I'm different now because I got my own life. I got my own, movement, and I got motion, and I'm over in a different place. But I want to fill out my own stuff. She said, what's really going on? He said, well, listen, I'm not voting the same way that y'all voting. And she said, don't tell me you're voting for Trump. The daddy then got on code with the mama, the uncles, then I got on code with the daddy. And they all just trying to convince him, and now they sending him videos every day about how Trump is racist. Free thinkers. Over here, I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm telling you what I'm advocating for, but I also advocate for you guys to be free thinkers. We have debates all the time, not just regarding to politics, but with money, with relationships, all of that. And I tell my people in the chat on a regular basis, do not censor anybody in the chat that disagrees with me as long as they're not disrespectful. Let the people rock. You know that. You know that. I tell people, this is not an echo chamber. I tell people on a regular basis, let the people rock. Sean Dre that's in the chat right now, this guy right here. This guy that got this goofy picture right here. Every day, he comes in the chat and he 100% disagrees with every single thing that I say. But I know that he's not a free thinker and that he's probably being programmed to think a certain way, but I never tell people to censor him. You know why? Because he's not disrespectful. And I'm okay with people having a difference of opinion or having a different thought process because that's where the fruit comes from conversations with people that may think differently from you that allows for us to come to a better conclusion because now we have more information. We're armed. We're being educated as we have this conversation. It's goofies all the time that come in here and say what they want to say. And I tell the moderators, long leash, don't do it. Don't censor them. Don't time them out as long as they're not disrespectful. Let them rock out. I see him every single day because I interact with my chat and I pay attention to my people. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. I see him every day. And I would almost think that he put that profile picture that's not even a real profile picture up. And he's probably a single baby mama that is trying to convince y'all and say some of the wildest stuff in order to then cause chaos and sow confusion into the people. But I'm okay with that because I know that my people are free thinkers and they're informed and they can think for themselves and they can make their own decisions. I know what's going on. I'm paying attention. But I don't censor people as long as they're not disrespectful. You know why? Because we need to become informed. And when you start to boot people out just because they don't agree with you, you miss an opportunity to educate them. You miss an opportunity to educate them. Let them rock. Let him come in. He subscribed so that he could say what he want to say in the chat. Let him rock and let him get educated because most of the people that found me, they found me because they disagreed with me. But ultimately, they realized that I was right. Let's rock.
Back to policies that put Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block. Back to policies that treat health care as only a privilege for the wealthy instead of what we all know it should be, which is a right for every American. Right. America has tried these economic policies before. They do not lead to prosperity. They lead to inequity and economic injustice. And we are not going back. We are not going back.
If y'all say wild stuff, even when it comes to the comments and the videos after they already up, not just in the live stream, YouTube will hold your stuff. It will delete it. It will censor it. It will hold it for review. So stop asking Anton, where's my comment at? You probably said something you wasn't supposed to say. Learn how to communicate more effectively.
They're not taking us back. Our fight for the future is also a fight for freedom. Yeah. Generations of Americans before us have led the fight for freedom, from our founders to our framers, to the abolitionists and the suffragettes, to the freedom riders and farm workers. And now I say, team, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote. We who are committed to fight to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence. And that's why we will work to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We who will fight for reproductive freedom, knowing if Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every single state, but we are not going to let that happen.
Trump already said that he's leaving that up to the states. That has nothing to do with the federal government. And so each individual state should be able to determine what their laws are with regard to abortion. False news, false information. We've seen him even talk about it on the debate. Become informed, y'all. Stop listening to these people just spew these lies.
It is this team here that is going to help in this November to elect a majority of members of the United States Congress who agree the government should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
And they're going to use this abortion trope to continue to play into your emotions when in reality, you have the ability to determine whether or not you even get pregnant in the first place. This is not something that we should be worried about. We got bigger things to cook on. But of course, they're going to play into your emotions because they don't want to talk about. Notice how she never talks about immigration. This is what I really want y'all to pay attention to. They never address the issues that we have no choice over. We can't control where our dollars are going, even though we even don't have no control of whether or not we want to pay taxes. They never address the real issues. Nobody in the Democratic Party, especially Kamala Harris, the border czar, ever address immigration and 15 to 20 million people walking over into our borders and counting. Ever. They never address the real issues.
And when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. Indeed, we the people. So ultimately, to all the friends here, I say, in this election, we know we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law? Yes! Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate?
So that's largely what she had to stand on. You guys can make your own or draw your own conclusions based off of what you're seeing. I'm going to go ahead and read some of the super chats. And then we're going to continue on with the show because we got a lot to address out here. Chase Barnes in the building. Appreciate you. Says, happy Tuesday, AD and peeps. Count me in too, AD. She is reeking of the fake juice, just and egregious. Shout out to Chase Barnes. I appreciate you for holding me down. AL says, bring back the Yang Gang. Nah, Andrew Yang, he don't appeal to the people, and he Asian. A lot of y'all don't even like Asian men. Mr. Joe says, I can't believe people are really going for this. Absolutely they are. Identity politics is real. Even pretty privilege is real. What makes y'all think that identity politics isn't real? Bitcoin Brown says, oh no, someone online went viral for finding out MLK and Inauguration Day 2025 is the same day. They might be trying to set this up, guys. Shout out to Bitcoin Brown. I appreciate you. Tech Coach Ralph in the building says, as it's reported, she secured enough delegates. Of course she did, but she says she's going to earn the nomination. Come on, man. It's only been, what, 2-3 days? AL says, does she not understand she's being used? She has no chance, and without a primary, little to no credibility they are bringing out to embrace her. I think she has a huge chance, and I think that y'all severely underestimating her, which could play into their favor. Mano1135 says the obsession with skin color in the black community is wild. In an interview on the Griot YouTube page, Kamala Harris literally says she will not do anything specifically for black people while in office. Well, where have we heard that before? 2008, 2012, maybe? I don't know. Well, let's continue to dive into what's happening. So Charlamagne, make sure y'all subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also get Tiege Hanley, the sponsor of this show. 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Charlamagne said that he's endorsing Kamala Harris. What a surprise. Let's dig into it. Let's spend 10, 15 minutes on this real quick to see what he said. I have not seen it. I wanted to save it for you guys in order to have a conversation with y'all. Let's get into it.
Joining us now, Angela Rye. She's the host of Native Land podcast. Also with us, Charlamagne the God, a co-host of the popular iHeartRadio show, The Breakfast Club. Also the author of the new book, Get Honest or Die Lying, Why Small Talk Sucks. There it is. There it is. Everybody run out and get it. Angela, already conservatives are making comments aimed at Vice President Kamala Harris's race. Listen to what Republican Congressman Tim Burchett told CNN today.
Biden said, first off, he said he's going to hire a black female for vice president, and that he just skipped over. What about white females? What about any other group? It just, when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president.
So are you suggesting she was a DEI hire?
100%. She was a DEI
Talk that
hire.
talk. 100% They leveraged the visibility in her skin color and the fact that people were going to vote one way anyway, and then you then galvanize a certain group in order to get her in office. Absolutely. 100% a DEI hired and in this position, and now they're leveraging this in order to continue to take advantage of y'all emotions and the fact that y'all always on code. And I'm so glad 100. See, I like people like this because they tell me what they really think. They're not going to say the PC thing. They're going to say exactly what they think. And I 100% love when people say what they think.
Angela, what's your reaction to that?
My reaction to that is DEI didn't earn it unless you're talking about legacy admissions and some of the trust funds that many of those members of Congress have. What you have in Kamala Harris is someone who was not only a county prosecutor, a state attorney general for California, a statewide elected United States senator, and now the vice president. I don't know about you, Jake, but for the track record for most of our vice presidents, she's pretty much on par. So I would argue that it is in fact not mediocre. What is showing in this clip is this man's racism. It's very clear that he has
always racism. It's always racism. Listen, y'all. Hey, white men, white women, they're going to call y'all Karens. They're going to call you racist. I see it's a whole meme going around with the AKAs, the AKAs. The AKAs, it's a meme going around saying it's either AKAs or KKKs. AKAs or KKKs. That's what I said. It's always going to be a claim of racism when you disagree with the fact that somebody didn't earn their position, regardless of whether you're right or not. It's always going to go back to racism. It's racist for you to disagree with the fact that this person earned this position when there's other people more qualified to be there. It's racist.
compared blackness with mediocrity, when many of our folks in our community know that we have to be twice as good and 3 times as qualified, and that is what you have in Kamala Harris.
Charlamagne, what's your response when you hear white Republican congressman referring to Vice President Harris as a DEI hire?
I would say MAGA has a lot of DEI hires too. You know, conservatives have a lot of DEI hires, but DEI stands for delusion, entitlement, and idiocracy. Because they're delusional because they think Donald Trump is their savior. They're entitled because they're a bunch of privileged white men who want everybody else to stay in their place. And the idiocracy comes into play because that's the movie the RNC convention reminded me of the other night.
Classic film by Mike Judge. You previously, Charlamagne, you previously called both Joe Biden and Donald Trump trash candidates, and you said you would vote in this election, but you would not endorse Biden. Now that he's out, do you think you might endorse Vice President Kamala Harris? Should she get the nomination?
Of course he will. 100%. Isn't it funny that we always lean on largely uninformed? And please don't let me start to bring up Charlamagne's background, because if you want to compare backgrounds and what accusations are, then we can definitely start to dive into that. But that's not the conversation. Of course he's going to endorse Kamala Harris. Why wouldn't he? He likes Angela Rye and he likes Kamala Harris. He's a part of the go along, get along gang.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
and then you want to say, like he didn't know that he was, yeah, absolutely.
You know, I absolutely would endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. You know, I supported Kamala Harris in 2020 when she ran for president. You know, I was out there on the campaign trail with her. You know, she was the only reason that I voted for the Biden-Harris ticket to begin with. And, you know, we have our, disagreements on air and off air. But I think that, she is the perfect person, to be in to fight in these unprecedented times right now. So,
Angela,
absolutely support her.
Angela, what do you make of Donald Trump saying that he is building support among black voters?
I don't. I make the same thing out of it that exists. It's absolutely nothing. It's a nothing burger. Donald Trump does not have a tremendous track record with black people. I think many of us can see through the lies, the parallels that he's trying to make with his, entanglements with the system are not real. There are black folks who are struggling to make and pay legal bills every day, struggling to figure out how they're going to raise bail money. Meanwhile, in Georgia, Governor Kemp signed a bill into law that would prevent organizations that help people make bail. He prevented that. That is Donald Trump's you know, it's someone who's just like Donald Trump. Is Donald.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, the reach is Stretch Armstrong long right now. She said that is somebody that is just like Donald Trump. Listen, forget whether you agree with the bill or the law, which I have not studied myself, so I can't speak too extensively, and I'm not even going to attempt to. I am ignorant as it relates to this bill that is in Georgia because I am in Michigan. So I'm not familiar with that in particular, but we can deep dive into that on another stage. Stretch Armstrong long. What does that have to do with Trump? How is that relevant? Do y'all see the reaching? When you have nothing else to grasp, when you have not another straw, when we can't lean into and then start to talk about truth when it came to the opportunity zones that Trump invested in or his administration invested in when he was in office, when we can't talk about the fact that he funded and put more money into HBCUs than any other president in history, when we don't want to talk about that, when we don't want to talk about any of the education systems and the reduction in taxes and the more money that's going into your schools and all that, when we don't want to talk about any of that stuff, when we don't even want to talk about the idea that he was the only president, the only person that was running for office that even wanted to hear and have a conversation about the Platinum Plan with Ice Cube, which then was torn down and never revisited from the Biden administration, which they was never even interested in hearing it in the first place. And they said, we'll take a look at what you got going on after the election. And then they stole some of the talking points in order to keep y'all engaged as voters. When we start to really break this down, Stretch Armstrong long to say, oh my God, he's just like Trump, but it has nothing to do with Trump. They start to reach. When you can't reach, when you can't really reach and then touch me, you teach. You teach. When people start to say wild stuff, you then refute it and you teach. And I think that one of the wildest things that we've always said is, hey, listen, you above it, don't even address it. Nah, we addressing everything today. We getting to it.
Trump's legacy.
Make sure y'all hitting the like for the algorithm. The likes is very low. The likes, for the amount of people, for all of the thousands of people that's watching this live, the likes is too low, knowing that we cook here on the Millionaire Morning Show on a regular basis.
States. When you look at what Project 2025 is all about, we know that
Another lie.
Those policies will hit us harder than anywhere else.
I'm disappointed in this woman. I thought she was educated. I thought that she was smart. I thought that she would be able to lean on more than just rumors, propaganda, fake news, and lies when it comes to this whole thing. Project 2025 is not endorsed by Trump, has never been supported by Trump. They've literally said when they heard about it, they completely distanced themselves from it. It has nothing to do with the Trump campaign at all, whatsoever. But when they start to reach, Stretch Armstrong arms, they reach, you teach. The biggest lie. And then they leverage Taraji P. Henson and Charlamagne the God in order to push this fake news.
What the Supreme Court has done with the 3 appointments from Donald Trump, we know that those policies are.
Yo, I know that most of these people, Sabrina, has not read the documents with Project 2025. It's over 900 pages long. Hey, for everybody that says or mentions anything with regard to Project 2025, ask them, have they read it? I have. It's over 900, it's almost 1,000 pages long. Tell me that you've read it, you understand it, and that you can discuss it. I'm going to start opening up these conversations for debates to let people come up here and help me to understand why I'm off and why I'm wrong, because I want to see the people that tell me exactly what Project 2025 is, because I've read it, I understand it. I know exactly what it is. I read it over the weekend. I went through and I looked at the summary points, and then over the weekend, I read it in depth. That's what I like to do because I want to be informed. So when I come on here or when I do the Anton Daniels show or when I do the Millionaire Morning Show, you can't lie to me. You can't lie to me because I read it for myself. It's almost 1,000 pages long. You can go and download it and look at it for yourself. Stop saying what about. Start reading it for yourself so you can become informed. A lot of the talking points in there is not even really that bad. It's not off. I was like, I kind of agree with this over here. I kind of agree. Even though it's not even endorsed by the Trump administration, I'm going to be honest with you. I was looking at it like, I'm not really sure that I disagree with a lot of what's going on in here.
Impacting us more than anyone else. So in our community, folks don't get immunity, right? He's offering immunity for police. for law enforcement, and he has immunity himself. That's something that we don't ever have. In fact, we are guilty until proven innocent in our community. So there's no there. I think that at best, he gets 16% of the black vote, and I think even that's a stretch.
Angela, Vice President Harris's advisors say that her campaign is going to lean heavily into the choice between her as a prosecutor and Donald Trump as a convicted felon. Do you think that's wise? Is that what voters want, a prosecutor?
I think there's never been a time where voters would want a prosecutor more. You have someone who has a proven track record, again, as a prosecutor, as a state's attorney, as an attorney general, rather, and she has demonstrated that she knows how to prosecute cases against the most corrupt among us. And I think Donald Trump is absolutely that. We're talking about someone with 88 indictments, well, less the case that was just thrown out.
That's called election interference.
By his appointed judge. But Donald Trump is someone who needs to face his record. His record is filled with criminality long before he went through the White House doors. And I think that needs to be tried. It has not been adequately tried. I'm eager to see if there will be a debate between the two of them. But her campaign, I think, wrote out yesterday demonstrating that contrast. And I think that's exactly where they have to stay, in addition to demonstrating how it will be a win for voters to vote for Kamala Harris. So they need to know what they're voting against, certainly, but also what they're getting in voting for her.
And Charlamagne, in your new book, you write,
Jake, I don't even know if that's the right question. People, asking if America's ready for a prosecutor. I mean, is America ready for, somebody with all of the criminal charges that Donald Trump has?
Right.
I mean, in
this dude is an idiot, bro. Literally, we have a sample size of 4 years of prosperity and growth, 2016 through 2020, when everything was going awesome. And he's just talking, single baby mama talking points. That's what Charlamagne got. We're gonna deal with that a little later on in this week. We definitely gonna start to deep dive into that. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're gonna continue over with the show. Classy Perspective says, Kamala is definitely going to get the liberal woman and LGBTQIA hashtag every other letter they got going for. I agree, which is what makes her dangerous. The uninformed voter is the dangerous voter, not the informed voter. The uninformed voter is the dangerous version. Stan Mansa says, as a person that is just getting into politics, I truly appreciate how you break things down. It makes it very understandable for a novice. Thank you. That's because we talk from a C student's perspective. Hey, get into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, big dog. We're going to run it up. Les says, good morning, Anton Daniels. DEI didn't earn it. Screw her way to the top. Shout out to my dog, Les. I appreciate you. King Stannis is in the building. Says, good morning. I'm going to study. Got finals this week. Have a good day, y'all. Trump 2024. Shout out to big dog King Stannis. I appreciate you. Trill, I appreciate you also. Says, the prosecutor got y'all on defense and nervous. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? Let me address that really quickly. I like that. I like what you just said. You said the prosecutor have you nervous. 100%. 100%. Before we get into the rest of the show, let me address that. I think that the biggest thing that you can do is underestimate your opponent. The biggest thing that you can do, shout out to my girl Molly, I'm going to read that shortly, is underestimate your opponent. Fear, a healthy level of fear. Fear not in that I'm scared of you, but fear in that I want to put a healthy level of pause into this conversation to make sure, is this person capable of doing something or affecting what I got going on? See, people they don't really understand the meaning of words, and the power of life and death is in the tongue. And so when we talk about the word fear or opponents or war or all of these things, everybody that has ever been successful when it comes to, when you can start to study a lot of these things, don't read the 48 Laws of Power, because if you're not apt to, or if you really don't understand exactly how powerful that book is, it could actually ruin you. But it's always important to have a healthy level of fear, or to really take your opponent serious, because the minute that you then underestimate them, that's when you get your legs swept from under you. It doesn't mean that they're the better candidate. It doesn't mean that they're actually the person that we need to have inside of the office. But what we do is we make sure that we pay attention to who it is that they're affecting. So I'll give you an example, right? Let me read this. I'm going to read this letter for y'all real quick. Let me give you an example of it. Thank you to Emmanuel Williams. I'm definitely going to be reading that shortly also. Let me read this letter. All right. The Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated on June 22nd, says, this is what they wrote to the sisterhood. As a member of our sisterhood, and given yesterday's news, obviously Kamala Harris now running, this message serves as a gentle reminder to be vigilant. This is what they sent out to all of their members. President sent this out to all of their members. Vigilant, careful, and mindful of how you are involved in the political process. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is a 501c7 nonprofit organization and therefore is nonpartisan. The sorority and our activities are sure to receive greater scrutiny. Be mindful of your importance in maintaining boundaries between your individual and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated involvement in the upcoming election. Further, I ask you to monitor your individual expressions and ensure that you are not reflecting views, opinions, or implied involvement of the sorority. Please refrain from the postings that include your support. Refrain from the postings that include your support for Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential run and use the sorority shield, letters, logos, hashtags, etc. It is important to keep the sorority separate from our soror's historic presidential run. In the upcoming days, more detailed communication with regard to expectation of all sorors during this consequential election will follow. You know what that is? You know what that is? That is a healthy level of fear of how the actions of the people that is a representation of you could affect what you have going on in the actual organization that you represent every day. And so they sent that out because they understand and they're paying attention to the fact that some of y'all are saying it's AKAs versus KKKs. You're right, Tia. You're right, Tia. Eric Daniels has it right. The sisterhood has power whether you like it or not. The minute that you start to underestimate the solidarity of these people is the minute that you then lose because you're not really paying attention to the fact that they are mobilizing. These people have power. They have power. They absolutely have power. If you don't think that there's a whole conglomerate of simps that's out here running around and is going to follow up right behind their chicks, we lost control of this country because we were asleep at the wheel. The minute that you start to get comfortable, regardless of whether or not you think that you are the superpower of the world, is when somebody else comes up behind you and then they're able to implement a terrorist attack, for example. A healthy level of fear does not mean that you don't have the power. It doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to defend yourself. What it means is that it's that you're aware. When I go into a particular place or a particular neighborhood, I always keep my head on a swivel. 100%. Do I think that anything is going to happen to me? Absolutely not. But I am aware of my surroundings. And it's the same thing with everything. When I see certain content creators, I pick and choose my opponents depending on who it is that I can leverage in order to create more visibility for myself. For the ones that have nothing to lose, I just completely ignore them. You know why? Because they don't add any value to what I got going on. I'm very strategic when it comes to my opponents. I punch up, not down. I handpick the people that I want to beat up on these platforms when it comes to content creation because I have nothing to gain as a result, and you got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Everything to gain and nothing to lose. And so a healthy level of fear is great. It's phenomenal. It saves your life. It saves your campaign. It saves you money. And it makes sure when guys are in a position of power, right? And we tell guys all the time, even with regard to relationships, and we say, hey, man, be careful of the women that you keep around you. You got money, you got power, you the man, but guess what? One little birdie, one little false accusation can bring a whole kingdom down. You can work your entire life to build up an entire kingdom, and it can all come crashing and fumbling down. And one accusation, they can ruin your reputation. They can get you removed from your job. They can have you in court. And even if you're not guilty, and even if you prove yourself to not be guilty and you spend millions of dollars for the best defense to actually bring out the facts, nobody is ever going to revisit the case of the initial accusation and say, you know what, I was wrong. Nobody cares about the fact that a whole lot of people's testimony got thrown out with regard to Bill Cosby. Nobody cares that a lot of the people that accused, what was my man's name? Was it the movie producer that wound up going to jail? Nobody cares that all of that got thrown out because it was fake news. Nobody cares. Nobody goes back and look at, you know why? Because we already convicted them in a court of public opinion, and that's the only thing that matters. Nobody cares whether or not Project 2025 is something that Trump actually endorsed, which he didn't. They're going to continue to push the narrative. And so that makes things, that makes people, that makes narratives dangerous. And I seen it last night when I was on the panel. It was two women. After I went through all of that, I'm red in the face, I'm frustrated, I'm trying to figure out how it is that I can communicate to people to start looking at policies instead of looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion and identity politics to determine who you're going to vote for. And it was a woman that got up there in the beginning of the show, right after I said all of that, right after I broke down different things. They didn't challenge the talking points. They didn't challenge the policies. They didn't challenge anything that I was saying as far as who did what for who inside of the White House when we got very clear examples of who's qualified and who's not qualified to lead the country. You know what they said? When I asked them, I said, she said, I'm going to be honest. Carrie, am I off? She said, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to vote for her anyway. I said, hold on, y'all. Stop the panel and say, hold on. Why? At least give me a reason. Like, I'm cool with people voting however they want to vote based off of your interests. But are you an informed voter or are you just saying it? I'm voting for her because she's a black woman. She's black and she's a woman. And I would just like to see somebody in the White House that look like that. I said, what? I said, Harpo, tell me that this is true. I can go and pull it up right now if y'all need me to. I can go and pull it up right now. Some of y'all was watching the show. Carrie, you was sitting right there. I said, wait a minute. You going to do what? I just want to see somebody that's black and a woman inside of the White House. I think it's our time. That makes these people dangerous. And so you can't get lax. You can't fall asleep at the wheel. You can't sit here. That's exactly what she said. You can't sit here and think that you safe. People, when they're given an option to choose for themselves, especially when they're uninformed, they're dangerous. They're very, very, very dangerous. So I'm absolutely 100% focused, aware. I understand what's at stake. This could quite possibly be one of the most important elections in our lifetime. So much so, think about this. They tried to assassinate the dude. They tried to kill him. This could quite possibly be one of the most important elections of our lifetime. And we sitting here acting like it's not a big deal. Don't think that he just won just because you support him or you think that she's absolutely incompetent in her becoming president of the United States of America. You gotta make sure that your people is knowing what's going on and they become informed. Don't tell them what to do. Give them the information so that they can learn from themselves. Some people are going to fall by the wayside. Others is not going to heed the warning at all. It doesn't even matter. You got to do your job. You got to make sure that people have the information because they doing their job. They mobilizing. They coming together. They doing what they got to do. They running it up. They taking care of business. They on top of it. They're mobilizing. While you sitting there comfortable, thinking that everything is cool and cute, there's usually the people that have the least to say, they got the biggest microphones that's ultimately giving you the worst information and influencing people to do the wrong thing. That's what I think about fear. All right? Let me read some of y'all super chats and then we're going to continue over with the show. Shout out to my girl Molly. I appreciate you. Thank you, baby, for the super sticker. Chester Bean in the building says, not one truth in the last hour from these people. The Wildebeest Davenport says, 1 Timothy 2:12, people are going against God, voting Kamala Harris, stay woke. Appreciate you, big dog. Also says, 1 1 Timothy 2:12 clearly says a woman shouldn't have authority over men. Look it up, Super Christians. Shout out to Wildebeest Davenport. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. I also want to give an acknowledgement to my guy, Emmanuel Williams, for supporting what we got going on the platform. Also, give me a second. On Cash App, Emmanuel Williams says, only the military should have metal bullets. Shout out to Emmanuel Williams. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's continue to deep dive, y'all. So DeSantis had a perspective about Kamala Harris ultimately becoming president of the United States of America, and that he says that it was all part of a cover-up and how she got there. And she was complicit in what we've seen from Joe Biden. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Let's get into it.
Let's bring in Governor Ron DeSantis. Governor, how does Kamala Harris now at the top of the ticket change this race?
Well, look, she's vacuous, incredibly liberal and unaccomplished. And so, yes, she doesn't have dementia, but I think she's a lousy candidate. And I was surprised at how many Democrats rushed to endorse her. Remember, their convention's not for another month. And so it wouldn't surprise me if she face plants over the next 2 weeks that you'll start to hear calls from those power brokers to maybe go in a different direction. We'll see what happens. But the reality is she knew about Biden's condition this whole time because she's been vice president. She claims she works closely with him. Jesse, just me as a governor, I've been dealing with Biden on different events that have happened since he's been president. He's come down to Florida after hurricanes, and I could tell that he wasn't all there. And it's gotten a lot worse in the last year and a half. So all this cover-up that happened, the media was complicit, but so many people in the White House were complicit. Kamala was part of that cover-up. And so in some respects, if you're a Democrat, you want to get the election to not be about Biden's age and senility, yet you have a candidate who's saddled with all his bad policies and then is going to be asked questions about what did she know and when did she know it. And let me just say, this nonsense that she's spewing and the liberal media spewing is like, oh, Biden was such a great president. How? He came in and he rung up the debt, fueled inflation. He abandoned Afghanistan. We lost 13 U.S. service members. He opened the southern border, which is going to lead to a terrorist attack in this country. We're weaker internationally than we've ever been, certainly in my lifetime. And so where is this greatness coming from? It's like they just say it and they expect people to believe it. And not that polls are everything, but this is a guy that has had a horrific approval rating for really the last 3 years of his presidency.
You know what it is?
So let's break that down real quick, because we're not going to spend no more than 10 minutes on this particular issue. But let's break that down really, really quickly. All right? Was it a play? Was it a play? Did they parade Uncle Joe out there knowing that he wasn't capable of being able to do the job that he said that he was doing inside of the White House? Also knowing and possibly understanding that his ability to do the job would be compromised, and that the only path, listen, you didn't have to compete, or you never had to debate yourself and debate with other people in the primary to qualify yourself to ultimately be president of the United States of America. I remember when Kamala Harris ran in 2020 and she got no motion, no love, no motion. People did not see her as presidential. All of a sudden in 2024, she's possibly and could quite possibly be the best thing that ever happened to the Democratic Party. All of the money is starting to flow in. In 2020, she absolutely was horrible, and she called Uncle Joe a racist. She implied that he was a racist in the primaries on the debate stage. If you had her go through the normal rigmarole when it comes to becoming the president of the United States of America, being nominated by her party, or was this something that they paraded out in order to ultimately make sure that this was the play? I believe it. I've been saying it. I've been predicting it. I said it on my own platform. I predicted it over a year and a half ago. I said, man, I'm telling y'all, this woman is going to be the candidate for president of the United States of America. This is how they're going to do it. This is how they're going to play it. And I called it. I've been calling it for years now, and it's played out exactly how I predicted that it was going to play out. And the people that's been rocking with me on the Millionaire Morning Show, you already know that this is exactly what the play has been. Because I've been preaching it. And some of y'all pushed against it. And a lot of y'all said, Anton, no, you wrong. No, I was right. And I'm going to put it in your face and I'm going to parade it around. And I was right. But here's the question. If you see your grandparents or you see people that are older walking around you, you can tell whether or not they're all there or not. You can tell whether or not they need help up the steps. You can tell whether or not they need to be in an elevator instead of, we need to sell the home, downsize them, put them in something that they can actually get back and forth to their place. Maybe they just need to be in a ranch, or maybe they need to be in a building with extra security. We need to get them some help. We need to get them some Pampers. We need to get them some applesauce. You know before everybody knows. The American people was sitting here watching him literally fumble. They brought in armies of people in order to prepare him for the debate, and there was no way that he could hide what we seen in real time. So if that was happening the entire time behind the scenes, because he didn't just automatically wake up on the debate day, we've been saying that Uncle Joe been crazy for a long time. It's called old age. It's been so if she knew it because she said that she was sitting next to him all the time inside of the White House, do you then become complicit and parading somebody out there that you know is not even controlling what's happening inside of the free world, but they just reading from a script? And I absolutely agree with him 100%. I did not see this phenomenal presidency at all. I didn't see phenomenal presidency at all. But let's continue.
It is, Governor. You know, at your funeral, when they say nice things about you, they have to say nice things about Joe Biden because he is long gone. You mentioned
but even that, Jesse.
Yeah, but
even that.
Let me ask you.
People are saying that
you mentioned when you saw him when he was down, I guess, for hurricanes, and you had to interface with him as a governor. You said you noticed him declining. Specifically, what did you pick up?
Well, look, I mean, just the interactions, how he would respond to different things. Sometimes we'd have, like a round table with some of the stakeholders after an event. We had the Surfside Tower collapse the first year of his presidency. You notice some things that are very odd. Then you notice kind of how he's handled the year after that when he came down for Hurricane Ian. It was just clear that this is a guy, compared to when he was in the Senate or vice president, that had declined. And I think the decline, this is not a linear decline. It's rapid. And the last year and a half, I think, has been really, really significant. But this notion that the media is trying to peddle that he's like George Washington refusing power for the good of the country. He had no choice. They were knifing him in the back. The New York Times was going after him. The big donors were going after him. And a Democrat, look, Republicans, New York Times isn't attacking me that I must be doing something wrong as a Republican. The Democrats, the corporate media is a huge part of their.
This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. 100%. Let me see something. Let me see if I can find something really quickly. Give me a second.
Party. And when you lose the media, you're really a dead candidate walking. So he had no other choice. This is not George Washington.
They're like, we're not going to give you a presidential library, and we're going to make sure your son goes to prison for the rest of his life. And he says, fine, I'll leave. And they're like, oh, what a statesman. Oh, it's so predictable. All right, Governor.
Let me see if I can pull something up. This is back when I had the different background. I didn't even have this one. I didn't have none of the other backgrounds. This is back when I had this background. Somebody said, Anton, go and get the receipts. Somebody said, Anton, go and get the receipts. They said, they challenged Anton for me. Listen, I've done thousands and thousands of shows and different videos and clips and stuff. And this is just a random search of me going and talk about Kamala Harris and the fact that she says she's ready to be president and all of this stuff. Anton, look, dog, don't challenge me. Don't challenge me. Don't challenge me. This is back when I had the other background. We was over here talking about the other background, Kamala Harris. says she's ready to serve as Biden faces age scrutiny. Yourself. She said, I'm ready to serve. There's no question about that. She responded bluntly. Everyone sees her on the job. Harris says, walks away fully aware of my capacity to lead. They've been planning this for a long time. Way before I ever had the don't do coke in the bathroom sign in the background, as I had the camera turned that way, and then I ain't had this on in the background. I've been talking about this for a long time. A long time. I've been breaking up back when I was wearing the other hats. I've been talking about this for a long time as far as what the play has been. As far as what the play has been. Round of applause for her confidence. That's a heck of a thing to say about yourself. Listen to what she just said, y'all. Listen to what she said. She said, listen. Same color t-shirts, different watches. Where's the person that said, hey, Anton, go and pull the receipts? I'm curious. Same glasses, different hat, same beard, different background, previous one. Oh, you said she's lost more assistance than anyone and people hated her? Interesting that you say that, baby. Interesting that you say that. Let me see something real quick. Let's go even further back. Let's go all the way back to December 2021. Let's go back to December 2021. Anton don't know what he's talking about. Anton is just talking. He's never really criticized Kamala Harris. He hasn't been talking about how bad she's been at the job. Let's go on to this one. Look at the OG back. This is all the way back in early 2021. Listen to this one. Oh, I can't even play it. Hold on. Maybe I'm able to pull it up. Early 2021. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. Kamala Harris is in the Victim Olympics. Look at the title at the top. Is Kamala Harris running in the Victim Olympics complaining that she can't get the job done? Should we bring up more? Because I was able to just go through and pull all of this up. Look at the background that I had. I had the shoes. It was a real morning. I had the Versace robe. Oh, man. Anyways, neither here nor there. Please don't challenge me on my record because everything is still up there. You're able to see it for yourself. Is no need in acting like it wasn't a thing. I've been talking about this for a long time, big dog. Yes. Please stop doing that. Don't do that. Carrie says, Anton, how much sleep did you get? I don't sleep, Carrie. Carrie, you know all I do is work. I cook up, I work, I run it up, and I take care of business. AL says, I doubt we see Biden for the rest of this term. Well, they say he got the vid and he over there in Delaware. Quick Octane says, Biden is senile now. Yes, this has to be a cover-up. Don't worry, Carrie. I'm going to probably get a nap later on today. David Simpson Jr. says, Jimmy Carter passing the torch of the worst president to Uncle Joe. Note, Carter is a great Christian, but a lousy president, policy versus personal life. Jeffrey Turner is in the building and says, I want what was promised, America first, a 30-foot wall and removal of illegals. Now she's shilling for the Israel lobby and supporting illegal immigration. He's focused on gays, porn stars, and Indians. Shout out to my people over there in Canada. I appreciate y'all for continuing to hold me down. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's continue on with the show. We got to go over into the money, y'all. We got to get to the money. Let's talk about Chicago. All right, I want to spend 10 minutes on Chicago, and I want to have a conversation about property tax hikes. Y'all ready? Let's get to it.
A dramatic increase in property taxes in Chicago's south and southwest suburbs has homeowners howling. And today, some of them got a chance to vent at the man who assesses those properties.
When my wife saw the tax bill, the first thing she said, just like the gentleman said earlier, we're not going to sell this house.
You might call it property tax sticker shock. South suburban residents gathering today at the Homewood Auditorium to hear from Cook County Assessor Fritz Kagi, who says he sympathizes with their frustration.
You do not need to hire a lawyer to make an appeal
A study by Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas of the property tax bills mailed out last month show that on average, homeowners in the south and southwest suburbs saw their property tax bills jump nearly 20%, the highest increase in 30 years. But for others, it's even worse.
My home assessment went up over 100%, and for the second property tax bill that I got, I owe almost $10,000. My tax bill increased 86%.
Could y'all imagine, listen, you own your home, or maybe you don't even own your home. Maybe you bought a home, because I don't believe that people truly own their home until they paid off their mortgage. As a matter of fact, I'll go so far as to say, I don't believe that people ever own a home. You're leasing from the state. You're leasing from the county. You're leasing from your city. Because if you don't pay your property taxes within the first or whatever, or if it lapses over a period of 2 to 3 years, they can then take your home and then list it and sell it at auction. And it's wolves. It's wolves at the door that is ready to take your property and then resell it or flip it or live in it and take it right from under your feet. So regardless of whether or not you paid off your mortgage or you bought a house, because now mortgage companies, they're not even giving you a chance. They're including it in whatever your mortgage is. So when you go and buy a home, at a very basic level, it's 3 things that you have to pay attention to. They're going to require you to have homeowner's insurance. If you put less than 20% down, you're going to have to pay PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, which is the dumbest thing that anybody could do, because people will justify it and say, well, I was able to get into a home. I was able to get into the home. But here's the problem with that. You're paying for insurance just in case you default. PMI is a scam. It's to protect the lender from you defaulting because you put down less than 20%. So you just wanting to get into the property to say, hey, I have a mortgage. I don't pay rent. I got a mortgage. You're giving away more free money in addition to the interest that you're giving over to the bank, especially within the first 10 to 15 years. You're giving over more free money that's not actually going into the principal. So you're hoping that the property appreciate, but you're not taking into consideration the true cost of owning the property, which includes maintenance. And then the second thing, right, in addition to the mortgage, which is the property taxes. So now they're including insurance and escrow, the property taxes. And if you undervalue or you underpay the escrow, they then gonna send you an additional bill to cover the difference. And this man is getting property tax bills that's basically saying they jumping 86% over in Cook County. 86% in Cook County. Could you imagine your property taxes jumping 86, you might as well just say 100%. So you paying double what you were paying the year before in property taxes. And you know why they're doing that? Do you know why that they're raising your property taxes over in Cook County? Because a lot of y'all say, oh no, we love Chicago. We never leave it, Anton. You're not really being fair to what's going on over in Chicago. Anton, you're not being nice. Show Chicago some love. Stop trying to hold us accountable for things that we doing, blah, 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 blah. You know why they doing that? Because they mismanage the money. And whenever you start to mismanage the money, you can go to the well. That's what the church do. The church is no different than Cook County and your assessor's office, because they're going to justify it by saying, well, the value of the property actually continues to go up. So we're going to reassess this and then give you a reissued bill. And you so dumb that you happy to pay them because you want to feel good about what's written on paper. You so dumb that you want to pay them and you want to pay more than you have to. And so, but at least my property value went up. You have no realized gains. No real realized gains. At least my property went up. You don't even know how to play the game. You don't even understand this real estate game. You've been taking courses and you've been buying $5,000 and $10,000 courses instead of jumping into the bag chasers and getting it practically for free and rocking out with a group of people that can really break down exactly what's going on with this real estate game. And so you don't understand it. So now, because you can't afford it, that's when you start to feel the pain. And you say, oh man, 86% property tax bill. Yo, that man got a $10,000 property tax bill that is due. And if he's late, it goes up another, $150, $200?
In two of the towns, Dixmoor and Phoenix, property taxes have more than doubled. Kagi told the crowd that taxes have been rising faster in the south suburbs because the industrial base has been drying up.
They are raising your taxes because the industrial base is drying up.
Retail's getting hit by online shopping, and the COVID crisis extracted a bigger toll.
So what they're telling you, listen, they're telling you out of their own mouths. Cook County, the assessor's office, and this is not just in Chicago or Illinois, this is happening all across the country. What they're telling you is this: we mismanaged, we didn't plan effectively, we don't have enough money to actually fund the things that's meaningful to you. We gave a lot of money over to the migrant crisis. We're trying to plug holes in the bill. We knew that we didn't have enough money. We knew that we couldn't project this accurately. We don't have enough police officers. Your schools is going to suffer because teachers can't get raises. You know how y'all always asking a dumb question? How come teachers don't make more money? How come teachers should be getting paid what the athletes get paid? Well, guess what? You the one that pay them. See, entertainment works differently because you get what you can negotiate. So when the WNBA loses $50 million a year, between $10 and $50 million a year, then that means it has to be subsidized by the NBA. And then the people that actually watch or subscribe or go to the games or buy the jerseys are the one that pay for the salaries of the players that's negotiated with the players union. But see, it worked differently with the teachers because the teachers are being paid by the city that comes out of your property taxes. So if you wonder why the teachers ain't getting paid more, that's because you don't want to pay more in property taxes. When you're wondering why your schools are underfunded, that's because you don't want to pay more in property taxes. When you're wondering why your community college and the cost for a credit costs more, that's because you don't want to be paying for your property taxes. See, the property taxes directly affect what happens in your community, but you don't think it's important for you to vote, even on a local level, to determine what happens. So now when you get that 86% increase in your property taxes, don't sit here and start complaining to the assessor's office. You didn't vote in the right leadership that ultimately can manage your money effectively. See, it's all trickle down. It's all a trickle down effect, but you don't want to have that conversation because you think that you know better than me. You know better than me. I ain't voting because ain't nothing going to change anyway. Yeah, I bet that property tax bill going to change. I bet when my mom get kicked out of her house and she started going to the church and saying, Lord, please send me a miracle, Jesus. And then the pastor say, listen, baby girl, I know you've been paying tithes and offerings here for a long time, but we can't help you. And then Anton Daniels and the bag chasers come in and they say, listen, I want that house for pennies on the dollar because his grandmother wasn't able to pay her property taxes and he didn't want to vote, so he don't get to determine what the millages are. He don't get to determine what the leadership is saying. He don't know his treasurer. He don't know his alderman, and he don't know his congressman. He don't even know how much funding goes into the school and why teachers ain't getting paid what they supposed to get paid, but we got more money going over to the things that don't really matter. I want you to still hold that same sentiment and tell me about how you don't vote and why you don't participate in the election process to then determine what's happening within your leadership, and then they assess whatever it is that they're supposed to do on you, which you don't have no choice but to deal with it. That's all I want to know. For everybody that sit here and tell me that they don't vote because they don't really care, that's cool. Pay your mother effing income taxes, your property taxes. I want you to make sure that you don't run that red light. You don't get to determine what happens as far as the infrastructure that happens in your city. You don't even get to determine whether or not you're going to get a parking ticket and how much that's going to cost. You don't get to determine what's going to happen in the sentences and the judges that's elected inside of your counties and inside of your cities. You don't even get to determine whether or not they're going to be liberal, more conservative, whether or not people can open up a liquor store right next to your crib, how big the houses is going to be. You don't get to participate in anything that goes on in your community. And when it happens, don't complain about it because you never participated in the election process. Just take it. Just take it. Just bend over. Let them rub you down. Bend over, let them rub you down. And then just go ahead and take the bus down. Take the beat up. Take the bus down.
There was a lot of evidence that homes for people at the bottom end of the price spectrum, especially black and brown people, were overassessed relative to higher end homes for a long period of time. Plus, commercial properties were underassessed for a long period of time.
Tiege says his office is working to make assessments as fair as possible, and he says there's a built-in savings that many people overlook.
The most immediate, practical thing that can be done is to first check the exemptions. Because if you don't have your exemption, okay, I know you're...
Don't worry about that. We're going to go and see what's happening later on that.
I'm Tia Ewing. We've been covering Cook County property tax hikes all this month. And you know what? 10 days from now, that is when those bills are due unless you set up a payment plan. But what if you don't have that money at all? Many people here in Calumet City tonight confronted the Cook County tax assessor with that exact issue, hoping to get some solutions. And many of them walked away frustrated.
If it's scapegoats you want,
look at everybody in line. Look at everybody in line now all of a sudden. Everybody want to have a conversation with the county assessor's office. Everybody want to participate. Everybody want to have their voice heard.
It's no getting out of it. The lines are long. Residents in the south suburbs frustrated and downright angry with Cook County property taxes that are through the roof. Adrienne Hatton has lived in her home in Markham for 17 years. Most of the homes around her are abandoned. She was one of 700 people that gathered here at TF North High School in Calumet City asking the Cook County tax assessor, Fritz Tiege, the tough questions about why taxes in places like Calumet City have soared 72%. Majority of people in the room, overwhelmingly people of color.
I feel like it's almost a conspiracy for all of us people of color to possibly lose our property.
Nope. It's not always a race thing. It's not always a race thing. It's called a class war, baby. It's called ignorance. You created this and you was hoping for somebody to save you. But the reality is that they let you. They let you create the environment that wasn't going to be best for you. And now you got to suffer as a result of it. This is being assessed upon us because it's overwhelmingly going to affect the people of color. How am I supposed to come up with $6,000? Look like you need to go and make sure you get you a sugar daddy. Yeah. Look like you're going to be doing it for $40. That's a lot of $40. That's a lot of $40 is. You know how many $40 this is you going to have to come up with in order to be able to come up with $6,000? Let me get my calculator out. How many $40 is this? Give me a second. Calculator, 6,000. And that's not the total cost. That's the additional amount that they assess. Divided by 40 that's 150 plays that you got to make. Hoping that don't nobody run off on the plug. That's 150 plays you got to make to come up with that extra $6,000 is this. You got to do a lot of $40 is this in order to get there, in order to get that additional $6,000. That's what my calculator is saying.
The disparity that we have in the south suburbs versus the rest of Cook County is the greatest in America.
Days ago, Tiege told Fox 32 the tax burden being placed on residents in Calumet City and other south suburban communities is based in part on the Cook County Board of Review giving big businesses tax breaks, like the Home Depot in town that received $370,000, he says, shaved off of their tax bill. The finger pointing didn't stop. The Board of Review says Tiege's office made mistakes on how they assessed properties.
The first thing I can do is exemptions. Second thing I can do is make sure your assessment is correct.
Calumet City Mayor and Illinois State Representative Thaddeus Jones of District 29 says his bill went up too, and he says he has a solution that will give property owners relief.
The bill is in draft form to have the governor and the assessor create a special tax designation for the south suburbs.
And that program that Jones was just talking about is a pilot program. If it is approved and that bill goes through, if it's passed, that would last 3 to 5 years. But you do still have time to file for what is called a certificate of error. That is if you believe that the assessed value of your home is absolutely incorrect. And at that time, they will also check to see if you have exemptions. You can do that online.
Listen, they need their money because they bleeding, and it's a lot of these cities that's ultimately going bankrupt because they don't know how to manage the budget correctly. And so instead of y'all requiring them to manage the budget more effectively and to stop having all of these legacy costs that go into what it is that they're doing, then y'all just going to go ahead and have to foot the bill, because they can always go to the well. They can always go to the well and get some more money when they start to mismanage the budget. No accountability, just go to the well. Anyways, let me read a couple of these super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. What we got going over here? Jade Denoir 89 says, DNC is in 4 weeks. Obama and elites hasn't endorsed her yet. Waiting to see her public reception and how she polls versus Trump. Michelle O is still on the table. I don't think Michelle Obama is on the table at all. Not even a little bit. KEI or K says, I think that was a part of the deal in 2020. Kamala dropped out of the race. Biden needed the black vote, so he waited to announce Kamala as a running mate in a race fueled in the race-fueled climate of 2020. LD says, yo, Unc, I watched the reaction to my video. I did leave a comment behind. I just wanted to thank you for highlighting me on your platform and putting me on the game. Keep educating the masses. LD, if you want to come onto the platform, let me know. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com, and I'll bring you onto the platform. All right? And then I'll have you on tomorrow if you want to. It's up to you. Shout out to you, big dog. Jay Smiz is in the building, says Oakland was a different situation yesterday, but the Chicago situation should be approached the same. Let the bank take it. Let the bank have it. Forget it. Let the bank have it. All right, so speaking of that, I'm glad that LD said that, because we're going to go ahead and go into another reaction. And let's have a conversation about it. LD, if you want to come on a platform and have a conversation, you are more than welcome to, and make sure that y'all go and check out his platform. Speaking of that, we got another reaction, and apparently this guy is saying that $20 an hour is not enough. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it. I'm going to read the cash apps after this, y'all.
What's going on, man? What's happening? Talk about a little subject real quick. Probably already could.
Let me acknowledge the content creator before we get into this. This man's name is Adolphus. Adolphus, as of the recording of this video and his live stream, he has 4,560 subscribers. Shout out to John Ellison. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. If you like his content, regardless of whether or not I agree with it, sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. I'm going to try to do it as respectfully as possible. You are more than welcome to go over to his platform and subscribe to his channel and tell him that the Anton from AntonDaniels.com sent you. All right. His name is Adolphus. Over 4,500 subscribers. He's saying that $20 an hour is not enough. Let's get to it.
Guess I'm out door dashing, making some extra money. Well, I'm a full-time door dasher right now, and I do other things on the side to earn a full-time income. But jumping right into this, man, I ain't even got too much time. I might get an order or something while I'm chilling. Try to get this video out before I have to go do an order.
Talk about it, baby.
$20 an hour.
Y'all gotta stop saying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know? Just speak exactly what you say clearly. Communicate your words and your thoughts and get it out. Let's just get it out. I agree, Connie. We gotta work on that.
You know, on the job. You know what I mean? Working a full-time job for $20 an hour. That used to be something that, you know, I would jump at. Like, that was cool, right? Now, I still would if I was trying to get a full-time job, 9 to 5 type stuff, and the job was something that's cool for me, that I really like, I may do it, you know, because I got other side stuff to, you know what I mean, add on to that. But at the moment, I'm not working no, you know, 9 to 5, like, application type job. But, it's like, that's not enough these days. You seem like, you know what I mean? Like, $20 an hour, it doesn't pay. So this is the thing, if I'm working a job, you know what I mean, and I'm giving it my all, I'm working, I'm showing up every day, you know what I'm saying, 8 to 10 hours a day, you know, and I'm probably like.
When you say you know what I'm saying, it takes away from your conversation. I'm trying to take in everything that he says before I react to it. So I want to get at least 3 or 4 minutes into the video before I start to have a conversation about certain things.
Because, you know, I don't really got too much educational background and experiences working in different, you know, career type stuff. So I'm probably gonna be doing some labor, you know, and probably working hard. You know what I'm saying? $20 an hour, it cannot sustain my life. It can't.
But see, that's the oxymoron, right? That's the epiphany that we're facing right now, is that you have people, and I see y'all talking about it every day online, and y'all say stuff like, Anton, we don't need to get educated. You ain't got to do all that in order to make money. Well, you see this man right here sitting here saying, listen, I'm going to be a laborer. I'm going to have to hustle. I'm going to have to grind. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that. And the reason that he's saying that is because he doesn't have a career. He doesn't have a skill set that would warrant for people to have to pay you more than $20 an hour. You know why? Because we can get a lot of use. And I'm saying this respectfully to him. I'm saying that the way that people look at things is that they pay for the thing that's in demand. If it's a lot of use, then you're going to get the minimum because I know that I can get somebody else to replace you ASAP. So the value of something is based off of not how you see yourself, or not whether or not you feel like you need a livable wage, but it's based off of what the marketplace demands for your services. And so one of the reasons that you go to school is to qualify yourself or to separate yourself. We need to start looking at school and college differently. And a lot of times we always had this conversation in the lens that the cost of going to school, or the time, or how much you have to put into it, or how much y'all taking out in student loans. There's plenty of ways to get through school without having a whole lot of student loans. And we have to have, you know, a multi-level approach to what success is supposed to look like. Yes, you have to work and you got to feed your face. You got to take care of your business. You need to reduce the self-inflicted wounds. You can't afford kids. You need a roommate. You may need to get married because that's the way it's easier to build wealth, even though y'all always having a conversation based off of not going 50-50. Y'all need to go 100, and y'all need to put all of y'all resources into each other. And that's how you build greatness. That's how you build legacy. That's how y'all come together. That's how you ultimately get to the bag. It's easier for you to pick a career path that's ultimately going to pay you millions of dollars more in your lifetime than if you just be a laborer. You don't want your back always hurting. You don't want to have to go and suffer every single day. You don't want to have to do this job in order to pay and feed yourself. And so it's a lot of factors that go into it. But again, we like to reduce the conversation to you don't need college until you sitting there talking about $20 an hour is not enough. Well, the value of who you are is what people are willing to pay you, not what you see yourself as. Let's continue.
Pay for my life right now. I'm the head of my household, got a family, 3 kids, wifey.
Shout out to the married folk, but 3 kids, I only had 1 because I said, listen, I'm not willing to sacrifice. I want to put every resource that I have into this one and not split. But respect to him for being a married man and having 3 kids and going out there getting it and hustling and trying to feed his family. I got respect for that.
You know, I don't live above my means. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. Where I'm at, it's like I aspire to I need more bedrooms and stuff in my house. You know what I'm saying? I need to move up. So I'm living pretty much at my means. But, you know, a $20 an hour job with a lot of the stuff it takes, like, you know, like I got car payments. Now I could say, you know, I don't need to pay this car off, but then again, you know how that go. I'm already locked in.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? I thought about giving this car back. I used to think that would stop the payments if I get a car back.
So he thinking about getting his car repossessed. I always believed in selling the car, getting rid of the car, getting a hoopty, and ratting. The first thing you do when you don't have a lot of money is you got to reduce and cut out. See, when we get money or when we got regular jobs, we say, oh, I can't maintain my lifestyle. When you go through a life event and you start to lose money and you ain't got enough money to be able to take care of business, you start seeing where all of the cost savings are. Hey, listen, I'm about to move back in with my people. I'm about to move back in with my parents. Now, that's much more difficult to do when you got 3 children because mama and grandpa ain't trying to have no 3 kids running around all day. They want to see them when they want to see them and then send them back home. And so that's the difference. You might have to put that chick that you got in there that's taking care of them 3 kids. Once some kids is old enough to be able to go to school full time, she might have to go and get a job. We got to build. We got to save. We got to reduce costs. We cutting out all this going out to eat. We're not about to be going on the vacations. No, but a lot of y'all feel like y'all deserve it, or you go to Klarna and have to pay in order to pay for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. So You got to reduce your costs.
And, you know, they say, all right, we got the car back. You don't have to pay the rest.
We had one car.
Nah, you still got to pay the rest of that money because you locked in with a contract.
Got all of them cars taken away and got one car.
So I got that expense. Then you got insurance. And I mean, you know, I get money through my car anyway. So my car is an asset because the money that I make, you know, is from driving. You know what I mean? The different gigs that I got is I need to drive. So that, and then, you know, you got, you know, my phone bill. I need my phone to work as well. I work off my phone. So, you know, you got stuff like that. You got Wi-Fi bill, you know, kids at the house want to watch their stuff, wifey, you know what I mean? So you got to pay the Wi-Fi bill, you know, you got to have Wi-Fi. I don't got cable, you know, nothing like that. You know, you got your rent, of course, and your PG&E and water or whatever, if you got to pay water.
For the wives that see this, right? Let's say, for example, you out there, you hustling, you going to get it. Because it's very difficult sometimes for some people when they're going through stuff to be able to communicate with their wives or their family about what they're going through. When your husband dropped this video, right, and you see this video and you see what he's going through, what's going through your minds? Like, let's remove some of the criticism and let's start looking at it from a human level. Let's say you are the wife or the girlfriend, he said he's married, and you see your husband drop a video like this. And you go and watch the content because often at times the person that you lay next to is supposed to be your biggest fan. And you see something like this drop from your husband. What is your opinion and what is your perspective when you see this? Do you get sad? Do you cry? Do you want to do something for him? Do you want to run away? What's the sentiment from the women when you see this from your husband? And he's saying, listen, it's rough out here. The kids need Wi-Fi. You know, I don't want to go home. I got to take care of business. I'm out in the street. I'm hustling. I'm going to get it. What's the sentiment from the women a lot of times when they see this?
You know what I'm saying? You got your average stuff. So $20 an hour, you know, you can't really, it doesn't really do it in these times right here.
He said he's married with 3 kids.
See, this is the thing too that makes it tough is because if they're giving you $20 an hour, like I said, I may be doing labor if I took a job for $20 an hour. So most labor jobs, they work the shit out you, man. They keep you for 10 hours a day. You be tired as hell when you get home.
Don't you want to work? You know what I'm saying? When I ain't got no money, it's time to get to it, right?
You know, different shit like.
Leave me at the plant. Leave me at the job. Leave me at whatever it is that I'm doing. Look, bro, I sleep here. What's the maximum amount of hours I can get a day? 16? I take 16. Hey, man, you want to work overtime? Yep. I ain't got nothing better to do. If I'm not here, then that means it's costing me money because I got to go and spend money in order to live. If I'm here, then that means I got this good air conditioning. I'm a work, I'm grinding. That means that I'm actually adding value and I'm making money that I can then take home and hopefully pay off some stuff, put us in a better position, be able to really invest, and then hopefully fund. And I'm working on, let me tell you something, bro. When I would work overtime a lot of times, that was an opportunity for me to study. While I was at the job, I was doing my homework. A lot of people say, Anton, how was you working 2 full-time jobs and going to school full-time? Because I went to all of my classes online, and while I was on break, in between whatever it is that I was doing my homework the entire time. I was studying, I was doing all of my online classes, I was doing my homework, and I was taking care of business. Man, multitasking, y'all seriously underestimating the multitasking capabilities that y'all have.
Like that, so doing other
while he's sitting in the car, he probably could have applied for a Pell Grant, went back to community college, been working on his stuff in between doing the deliveries, looking for jobs online in between. On top of that, man, I believe in utilizing every single hour that I'm woke throughout the day.
You got to really be a savage, you know what I'm saying, to make up for that 20. Like you might need to make at least 500 more per month, you know, to sustain your life, not even just to like have fun in your life and take trips and do stuff, just to keep the basic shit you need, necessities. You might need to go out and have a side hustle to need to make $500 more. You know what I'm saying? After that tough ass labor job. So that's why these days I won't take a $20 job. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would have to be just a dream job to where I'm working there, it don't even feel like work. To where when I get home, you know, it's just, I feel really.
How wouldn't you take a $20 an hour job? You take what you can until you can do better, right? I thought that was the simple play. Even on a very basic level, you take what you can until you can do what you want. What do you mean I wouldn't? Hold on, wait. You can't be in the car door dashing, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Postmates, saying that I wouldn't even accept the $20. This is why migrants are coming into this country. They are being trained for the jobs that y'all don't want. And they're going to leverage these positions to ultimately take over, own the businesses, and then have y'all working for them, talking about what happened. I don't understand what's going on in the community. Hold on. How do you say that you're not going to take something when you don't have nothing? So I take this, and then I'm working on getting something better while I'm also playing that long game, and I'm doing the long play. I'm going to school because ultimately I want a career. But in the meantime, I'm doing what I got to do in order to feed my family, and I'm a leapfrog off of it until I can do better. No? Am I off? Am I that far removed?
Good. You know, that's far between, but it's like, hey, that's what I would need. Something that I love doing, and I can go work and do it.
Ain't no such thing as passion when you broke, big dog.
That's what it would have to be, you know what I'm saying, for a $20 job. Now, this is the thing, though. Me working, period, with, you know, not much of a background, you know, education or experience and stuff, that's my ballpark right there. You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm going for a trade. Now, that's another thing is learning a trade. You know, let's say construction. Let's say you went and took electrician. You went to be an electrician. You learned a trade. You know, you went to school for electricity, whatever, right? And you know how to do the electricity in these construction sites, right? You on that type of time. Well, you're gonna be getting paid more then, right? So it's like, of course, you can do stuff to get paid more, but if you starting out, you're gonna start out low at most positions that don't require experience like that, and that's the ones that jobs that's easy to get, and that's how they get you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was working at last year at Amazon warehouse. You can get hired like that. There ain't no interview process. You just come and you're hired, right? $20 an hour, and they work the shit out you, man. You know, they work the shit out you. Like, I couldn't even pay all my bills working there at Amazon. And I was stressed the fuck out, depressed. You know what I'm saying? Working there. And I was really working too, you know what I'm saying? And
hey, I got a question for y'all. Here's my question. Time Dog is in a meeting right now too. I promise you I'm in a meeting right now. I promise you I am in a meeting right now. I am literally in a meeting. Running it up. I got look, the laptop right there. I'm in a meeting right now, right? I'm muted. Okay. Here's my question. Is Amazon really that hard? I've done some hard jobs in my life. I have done some really hard jobs. I'm almost compelled to go and get a job at Amazon just to see what y'all keep talking about. Somebody tell me in the chat if it's that difficult. Somebody tell me in the chat if it's that difficult. Is Amazon so hard that y'all are having a tough time and y'all get depressed and y'all getting work the F out of y'all and all of this stuff? Y'all said it's hard and strict. I'm about to go and get a job for the weekend. I think what I'm going to start doing, I'm about to start a new series for this channel. And my series is on the weekends, I'm going to go and get a job at some of the places that y'all say that y'all struggling at. And I want to see what it's like. And I want to document it. Undercover boss without actually being the boss. You know what I'm saying? I really do want to see it. I want to see what's really happening. Anton won't last a shift. Man, are y'all smoking crack? I'm a hustler. I don't sleep. Y'all soft. Y'all soft out here. I ain't talking about him. I don't know him. But I think that y'all soft. I honestly believe that y'all soft. I'm about to start doing some of these jobs. I'm going to document it. And then I'm going to try to figure out what y'all really going through and if we all on the same page. Because I need to reacclimate myself to what's happening out in these streets. They say that, Anton, you've been sitting pretty for too long. That's okay. That's okay. We going to get there. We going to get there. Let me see if he got anything else going on.
To be working that hard and that dedicated, and you can't even pay all your bills every month with that money,
all right,
it's just not worth it to me. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that businesses have to run their business and be profitable, especially a place like Amazon that got thousands of locations and shit like that all over the fucking world.
Enough. So here's my question for y'all then. What job should I do? I know y'all said Amazon, fast food. Is fast food hard? Maybe I could be an overnight stalker so then I can give y'all the experience of that. It can interfere with what we got going on, and it definitely can interfere with corporate America because those are some huge bags that we not giving up. So we're going to have to do that in addition. Maybe we can do it on the weekends. Y'all want me to do DoorDash or something? Do DoorDash on my bike? Maybe I can do DoorDash on my bike. Let me order I need to order a camera system now. I need to order a real-time camera system so I can have it on me and y'all can see it, I can do it, and I can document the experience and all of that stuff. I'm going to go on Amazon and order a camera system. Because me just having my iPhone like I usually vlog, that ain't going to be enough. What kind of camera do I need to order in order to do this? Y'all said I'm going to be a district manager in 3 days. What factory? Amazon Warehouse Associate, Night Shift, Amazon DoorDash, Amazon, not the bike, big dog. My bike is sweet. Y'all see my bike? My bike is sick as hell. Let me see my bike. See if I can get my bike over here. My bike is a beast, boy. Move this chair out the way. This is my bike. My bike is sweet. I love my bike. My bike is sick, bro. I got a dope bike. Got my little electric thing on there. See it on there, right there? Got my light, my flashlight popping. My bike is sweet. Anyways, yeah, man. I think I'm gonna have to show y'all what's really happening in these streets. Hey, that's a sweet backdrop too. I might leave this as my backdrop. Had a bike as the backdrop? It's kind of dope. Anyways, yeah, man. I could do DoorDash on my bike. I could do DoorDash on my bike. It's going to be sweet. I said, how do you charge it? You just plug it up. Just plug it up. Just charge it, you plug it up. Yeah. I'm about to get on my bike and do some DoorDash and see how hard it is out here in these streets. That's how I get back and forth to work every day. I just jump on my bike. I don't drive my cars. I don't drive the Mercedes, the 911, the Taycan, none of that stuff. I just ride my bike. Anyways, yep, I think I'm about to start doing it. I'm about to start doing some hard jobs to see what y'all got going on in these streets. And I'm going to see if it really is difficult for y'all. My bike is sweet as hell. Love that bike. Let me see. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get y'all up out of here for the day. I'm supposed to be in a meeting. They're probably asking me a question out here in these streets. I ain't door dashing? Oh, y'all challenging me. Quentin telling me to get a Ducati. No, I like my bicycle. My pedal bike is sweet, Quentin. You don't like my pedal bike, Quentin? Let me see if I can get y'all a different view. It's my pedal bike right there. Sweet as hell. Got my little lock right here for when I go on park and I walk in the store and stuff. Yes. Anyways, let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to get up out of here for the day. Somebody said, what type of bike is it? I don't really want to say because they're not sponsoring this. So, you know, when you get to a certain level, you gotta get the people to pay for that. They got to pay for that level of visibility. Shout out to my dog, John Ellison. Said, what's good, bro? Seeing you at Zuzu this weekend downtown. Shout out to John Ellison. Proud of you and admire you. Hashtag best electrician. Yeah, man, I'll be out in the streets. And I'm outside and I'm chilling and I'm kicking it with the homies. And John pulled up on me and said, what up, Anton? I appreciate you. So I was chilling with the ladies. We was all sitting there having lunch. Or actually, it was actually the evening. We was having dinner. And John pulled up and said, what up? Hey, for everybody that see me in the streets in Detroit, say what up. Don't be shy. I'm not going to jump out the window. I'm a humble dude. I like to kick it with people in real life. Shout out to my guy, John. I appreciate you. Chat for more says, rise and shine from CA $20 an hour isn't enough for a family, but need to step up your skills, knowledge, and ability to get the real income. I agree with you. Shout out to Chat for Morris. High Tolerance is in the building. Shout out to High Tolerance says, Adolphus is a reformed Pookie until he get a skill or even a CDL. He's hit. Know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying, big dog. Janice, what up? Janice says, I love this show. I love you too, Janice. I love you too. And we are the best platform on the streets, man. Ken J says, he said wifey. That's hood code for not married. I don't know. He might be married. Anthony Boom says, the jobs he is limited to, the black jobs Trump was talking about. For the birds and the simps repeating them, what is a black job? That's what it is, respectfully. Shout out to you. Chris J says, if he's working and struggling, what is she doing? I don't know. Chat for more says, Amazon is actually an easy and good place to work at. You can work and move up easily. I worked there and climbed my way up to senior operations manager. So it is fake. It's fake news when they say, oh man, it's going to be a slave work. Shout out to my dog, John Ellison said, don't feel bad for him. I'm a master electrician. I was in Voltec and Randolph. I remember Randolph, Voltec, and these types were disruptive in class, being cool while I was learning. Now I make over $250,000, no college. I remember Voltec. I used to know some people that went there. High Tolerance says he has plenty of options: CDL, barber, barber school, construction, aviation, or culinary school. He is not giving the real spiel. It ain't adding up. Yeah, man, y'all gotta grind, man. I can't just do these dead-end jobs for the rest of your life. Chris Flood says, Amazon isn't hard. It was fun delivering packages, and it was a good workout. I'm about to get me work. I'm about to work at Amazon. I'm on it. Weekend job warrior, here I come. Joe Gun 84 says, name the show Undercover Millionaire. All right, I'm with it. Machine got you, Wall Machine got you come put up some drywall. Wall Machine got you come put up some drywall. Nope. I'm not going to put up no drywall. I might do it over the weekend. I got some houses I need to put up some drywall for. GoPro, I will email you the complete setup. All right, Enos Lumby, email me. Let me know so I can buy everything. I'm going to buy everything today. And then when I get back from the meetup this weekend, we going job hunting. We are going job hunting, and I'm going to add it as a weekend segment of the show. As a matter of fact, what I might do is, I don't know if I want to do a GoPro or if I just want to live stream it. Maybe live streaming it will be more effective and it'll be sweeter if I just live stream it. So I'm actually riding around and I'm live streaming it, and y'all can see me running into the people and what I got to deal with and whether or not and people say, hey man, I thought you was a millionaire. What you doing out here working a second job? We can live stream and all of that and we can get to it. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, thank y'all for joining in on the greatest show on earth. And we going to get to it. So I'm going to holler at y'all later. Y'all be safe. What do we got tonight? After Hours? After Hours featuring me, my boy Quentin, Slimmy, and maybe even 2K or one of the ladies might jump in. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.